Good morning, students. Today we'll be treating a topic in mathematics, geometric plane shapes or figures. Now, what is a plane shape? What is a plane shape? A plane shape is a figure with closed boundary. A figure with closed boundary. Plane shapes are of the following types. We can say a circle. A circle is a plane shape. A circle is a plane shape. Idea? Now, what is a circle, if I may say? A circle is a shape that can be made by tracing a curve that is always the same distance from a point that we'll call the center. So, if this is a circle, this is the center, and from this center, the distance from this center to this point is equal to the distance to this point. The distance from here to here is the same thing as this one. So the distance around a circle is called the circumference. From here to here back to this place is called the circumference of the circle. Then the distance from the center to any part of the circle is called the radius. So from here to here, or from here to here, or from here to here is called the radius. And we represent it with the letter R. That is for the circle as a plane shape. So the next plane shape you have to know is the triangle. The triangle is a shape that is formed by three straight lines. Three straight lines. A triangle is a shape that is formed by three straight lines that are called the sides. So this is a side, this is a side, this is a side. So there are different ways of classifying triangles according to their size or angles. We classify triangles according to their size or angles. So this is the angle, this is the angle, this is the angle. So in terms of their sides, we have, according to the shape or their shapes, we have a triangle called the right angle triangle. We have the one called acute triangle. We have the one called obtuse triangle. In the acute triangle, the angle is less than 90 degrees. In the obtuse triangle, the angle is greater than 90 degrees. Then if we talk with respect to their sides here, if this, okay, let me use diagram to explain what we mean by right angle triangle. This is a right angle triangle. In a right angle triangle, the highest angle there is 90, while others can take either 45, 45, 30, 60. So if here is 30, here can be 60. While this place is 90 degrees. So this triangle is called 90 degrees right angle triangle. Then in an acute angle, the acute angle, you can have something like this. This place is an acute angle. this place is an acute angle because it's less than 90 degrees. So if I have something like 70 degrees, we call it acute angle because it's less than. Then an obtuse triangle, we can have something like this. As you can see, this is obtuse. Here can be 108 degrees. So it is greater than 90 degrees. So this is an example of obtuse triangle. So according to their size, we can have a triangle called equilateral triangle. Equilateral triangle. Equi means equal. Equilateral. So this is gotten from equal. Equal size. An equilateral triangle has equal size. So if here is, for example, if here is 2 centimeter, here is going to be 2 centimeter, and here is going to be 2 centimeter. When such triangle is given, we call it equilateral triangle. Then there's another type of triangle we call isosceles triangle. Isosceles. In such triangle, it has 2 equal sides. 2 equal sides. So, okay. Before I go to isosceles, I will give you signs we use to know that sides of a triangle are equal. Like when you see these signs, it tells you that all the sides are equal. So in isosceles triangle, only 2 sides are equal. So these 2 sides are equal. This place is not equal to this place, but these 2 are equal. Okay. Another one is scalene triangle. In a scalene triangle, no sides are equal. They can have different sides. They can have different sides. So this is scalene triangle. They can have different sides. Here can be 2, here can be 4, here can be 3. So we call it scalene triangle. Okay. The next plane shape we are going to talk about is the rectangle. The rectangle is defined as a shape that has 4 sides. So let's draw the rectangle. Let's draw the rectangle. In a rectangle, it has the distinguishing characteristics that the 2 parallel lines are equal. Here is equal to this one, and this one is equal to this one. Are you there? And also, it has the characteristics that the 4 internal angles are equal. 4 internal angles are equal, or interior angles are equal. That is, they are equal to 90 degrees. 90 degrees. They are equal to 90 degrees. And when you sum these 90 internal angles or interior angles, when you sum them, they will be equal to 360. So the sum of interior angles of a rectangle is equal to 360 degrees. Sorry. Either the sum of interior angles of a rectangle is equal to 360 degrees. So another one we are going to look at, another plane shape, is the rhombus. The rhombus is a plane shape and is formed by 4 straight lines. Let's draw the rhombus. Rhombus, idea. So this is a rhombus. What is the characteristics? It has 4 sides. As you can see, it has 4 sides, like the rectangle. It has 4 sides like the rectangle. And here, the 4 angles are not equal. Unlike the rectangle, the 4 angles there are not equal to 90 degrees. And we can say that it's a deformed rectangle of square. Deformed rectangle or square. So here might not be equal to this one, might not be equal to this one, might not be equal to this one, depending on the way. Another one we are going to look at is the square. The square The square is a type of rectangle, but it's also a type of rhombus. It's a type of rectangle and also a type of rhombus. It has characteristics of both of rectangles and rhombus. That is it. So, just in the same way the rectangles has equal angles of 90 degrees, the square also has equal angles of 90 degrees. 90, 90, 90. And in the same way, when you sum it, you have 360 degrees. Another shape we are going to talk about, which is the final shape we are going to discuss in this topic, is the trapezoid, or what we call trapezium. Trapezoid, or we call it trapezium. Trapezium. The trapezium, we are going to draw the trapezium.
Everybody knows what it means to be you. A rectangle, 4 sides, 4 corners to view. They know the qualities of my many-shaped brothers, but no one knows who I am, not like these others.
Don't be so sad, my friend, you should have pride. They will fall fast for you once they have tried.
Cone is a party hat, cube can play dice.
But you've got 4 sides to you. I think that's nice.
Cylinder is a can, ready to drink.
You're a great popcorn box. That's what I think. Be proud, my trapezoid. You're a rowboat. 1 pair of parallels, but you can float.
I'm not like your square, but I'm a jewel. I am a trapezoid, different and cool.
So that is one of the major characteristics of a trapezoidal shape. So in this point, we are going to stop, and this is all about the introduction of geometric plane shapes, which you're supposed to know. In our next class, we are going to see how we are going to be solving for the perimeter areas of these plane shapes. Then the assignment for you is already in your material, which you will have after this. The assignment is that I want you to discover geometric features found in our environments. Let me take it again. I want you to look at geometric figures or shapes found in our environment. So when you look around your home, you will see even your television. You will see your television, or in this board we are now, you know the shape of this board, the plate you use to eat, your bucket, and so on. You can tell us the shapes you are seeing around. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Moo Math. In this video, I'd like to talk about rectangles, rhombuses, and squares. Each of these are plain two-dimensional shapes. Let's look at some of the properties of each of these shapes. Each of these shapes are considered to be a polygon, which is a closed figure composed of lined segments. They also are considered to be quadrilaterals, which mean they each have 4 sides. They also are all parallelograms, which means they have opposite sides that are parallel. Let's go ahead and look at some of the unique properties of a rhombus, rectangle, and a square. What is a rhombus? A rhombus is most commonly recognized as a diamond, but they are not limited to this shape. Let's take a look at 14 properties of a rhombus. A rhombus is a quadrilateral, which means it has 4 sides. In addition, each of these sides are congruent or equal. The opposite sides of a rhombus are parallel. A rhombus has opposite angles that are congruent. The diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular. The diagonals of a rhombus form 4 congruent interior triangles. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other. This means that they cut each other in half. The formula for finding the perimeter of a rhombus equals P equals 4S. S equals sides. The formula for area equals 1/2 diameter 1 times diameter 2. A rhombus has all the properties of a parallelogram. These include opposite sides are congruent, the opposite angles are congruent, the diagonals bisect each other. All squares can be considered a rhombus, but not all rhombuses are squares. The diagonals of a rhombus bisect each other, but they do not have to be the same length. Hello, welcome to Moo Moo Math. In this video, I'd like to talk about the properties of a rectangle. A rectangle is part of the quadrilateral family, which means it is a plane shape with 4 sides. In addition, it has several other properties. A rectangle is a 4-sided polygon with opposite sides being parallel. In addition, a rectangle has 4 right angles, and the sum of these interior angles add to 360 degrees. Let's talk about the diagonals of a rectangle. The diagonals of a rectangle are of equal length. The diagonals also bisect and create 2 pairs of equal triangles. Opposite sides of a rectangle are equal, and the opposite sides are parallel. All squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Hello, welcome to Moo Moo Math. In this video, I'd like to talk about the properties of a square. A square is a plane shape. It is a quadrilateral that is 2-dimensional, so it has length and width, but no height. A square has 4 congruent sides, 4 equal sides. Along with these 4 sides, you have 4 right angles. The diagonals of a square are perpendicular and create 4 right angles. The diagonals also bisect each other. The diagonals also bisect opposite angles and create equal 45-degree angles. As a result of the diagonals bisecting opposite angles, they create triangles that are congruent. Triangle A, B, and C is congruent to A, C, D. And finally, a square could be described as a rhombus with 4 right angles, or a rectangle with congruent sides.
On the condition under which a parallelogram is called a rectangle, rhombus, and square. Friends, what is the use of understanding all different shapes or doing any kind of mathematical operation when and where it helps us? Friends, playing with these things actually sharpen our mind and also improve the basic knowledge which helps us understanding complicated things easily in future. As we apply logic in our own way on different subjects or topics, it sharpens our brain and we start thinking more logically and beautifully. So let's, while watching the session, think, question, and stay curious. Now, on throwing these Mikado sticks, we see that they got arranged in some random shapes, which look like a quadrilateral, but not a parallelogram. And the reason for them not being a parallelogram is that, although one pair of opposite side is parallel, they are not equal in length, which restricts other pair of opposite sides from being parallel. Friends, do not get confused between parallel sides and equal sides, okay? In geometry, A quadrilateral whose only one pair of opposite sides is parallel is known as trapezium. Some call it as trapezoid as well. These non-parallel sides may be equal, like in our first diagram, or may not be equal, like in other two diagrams. Basically, there are only two types of trapezium. When these sides are equal, we call them isosceles trapezium. When they are not, they are simply called trapezium, or we can say scalene trapezium. Here are some real-life examples of trapezium. Since it is a bit different shape than that of a parallelogram, so even its properties will also differ, like opposite angles will not be equal and diagonals may be equal as in the first case, that is in isosceles trapezium, or may not be equal like in any other trapezium. In isosceles trapezium, adjacent angles made by non-parallel sides are equal. In any other trapezium, they are not. So this was all about trapezium family. Till now, we've learned about two families of quadrilaterals. If anyone asks you to recognize a shape belonging to these families, I hope you will be able to. Now, there is only one family left, the kite family. We've all seen a kite flying in the sky. In a kite, there are two main sticks, which helps in the kite flying. Friends, try to make the shape of a kite along with me with these Mikado sticks and write whatever you observe. I've made 3 kites and all of them are a bit different from each other. See my first kite. All its sides are of equal length. Can we call it a rhombus, which we have learned in our previous session? If all the sides are equal, they have to be parallel. So it becomes a rhombus, right? It could have been a square also, like my second kite, as it makes 90 degrees of angle at the corners. Simply, if we rotate or flip a rhombus or square, it looks like the shape of a kite only, right? My third kite is a very special one. We haven't seen such quadrilateral till now. It's both the pair of adjacent sides are equal. This is one of the criteria for a quadrilateral to be a kite. There is one more property which is only found in kite, is that we can see its diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Precisely speaking, it's one of the diagonals is a perpendicular bisector of other. Now you must be thinking that the square and rhombus belong to the family of parallelogram because both their pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Yes, you are right. In a rhombus or square, since all the sides are equal, so no doubt even adjacent sides will be equal, as well as their diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Therefore, they belong to both the families because they satisfy all the tradition, or you can say condition, followed by respective families. So friends, this was all about the types of quadrilaterals. Any other shapes which do not belong to these 3 families are simply called quadrilateral only. Broadly, we can say that a parallelogram, trapezium and kite are the family name or surname, and the figures which come under these families have their different names. Rhombus and square are in a relation with 2 families, parallelogram and kite. All these families live in a town quadrilateral. This is it for now.